Hey there, Deep Inspiration Hub here. Today I'm going to be taking you through a setup guide on how to set up a Net3 network node. So what is Net3? Net3 is basically building an AI layer 2 network that is helping AI developers out there to be able to train or validate their AI models. So the idea here is to build a decentralized network where users can dedicate some hardware resources and internet bandwidth which can be used to train these AI models. So the ecosystem is growing quite rapidly. So currently they have about 270,000 nodes, which is quite remarkable. Currently active, about 2 petabytes of data that has currently been channeled in about 183 countries, which is quite a remarkable amount, right? So they currently had a seed round funding of about 5.5 million. I mean, this is backed by IoTeX, Borderless, and if I forgot to mention, the project is currently built on IoTeX, right? So the project is quite a solid project. So I've set up a few of these nodes. So I currently have, I think, about 6 of these nodes that are running, and I've started to see some rewards, and that's why I'm going to share this with you. So I did not find that much good tutorials out there on how to set this up, and that's why I thought I'm going to make a tutorial with you and teach you how you can set this up yourself. So the node itself is pretty straightforward to run. It can run on Mac operating system, you can run on Windows, you can run on also on your phone, on iOS, or on an Android device. For all these versions, all you have to do is to just download the software, run the software, and then basically you're good to go. What I'm going to teach you today is how to run this on a Linux operating system, specifically on a VPS server. So as always, I have created a Medium post for you that basically outlines the process, and more importantly, also has all the commands that we're going to need in setting up the node to make it a bit easy for you to be able to participate as well. Now to begin, what you're going to have to do first is to create an account, and a free account. So this is a free account that you can create. I'm going to put my referral link in the description section. I'll be extremely happy if you sign up using my referral link, because this also gives me a kickback as well. Now what you have to do here is to basically fill in your email address, password, and then my referral code would be automatically appended to the form, and then when you finish, just click register. That's basically all you have to do to register. Now the next thing that we're going to need is, of course, we're going to need a VPS, and I've checked a lot of the VPS out there, and Contabo still is my favorite because it's the cheapest in terms of the resource that they would provide to you. So my recommendation would be to go with a cloud VPS one. So here as well, I'm going to get my referral link down in the description section. It doesn't cost you anything extra if you sign up using my referral link. This goes to support my channel, so I'll be extremely happy if you sign up using my referral link. So when you click on my referral link that I'm going to put in the description section, it's basically going to open this page here for you. So here you just have to choose the duration that you want to run your VPS for. So the good thing is that Contabo is currently having a sale, so you do not have to pay this annoying setup fee that we always had to pay. So just choose the duration with which you want to run your node. For the region, leave this as European Union. What this basically means is that your node would most likely, or your VPS would most likely be in Germany, but it has no effect on your earnings or VPS activity. Now for storage, keep this as a default. 400 gigabytes is free. If you choose any other thing, for instance 600 SSD, you're gonna have to pay more, which we do not need. 400 gigabytes is way more sufficient for running this node. For the Ubuntu version, you can work with the 20.4, but I'm gonna go with the 22.04 option. So yeah, just click on the drop down menu and select 22.04. Now when you scroll down here, this is extremely important. Here you're going to put in the password that you're going to use to connect to the server. So make sure that whatever password that you put in here is a password that you're going to remember, you're going to save in a secured place, because without this password you wouldn't be able to connect to the server. So I have put in my password, and then for object storage you don't need to change anything. So basically beyond this point, just leave everything as a default. Networking, you don't need to change anything. Add-ons, you don't need to change anything. And then when you're done, just click on next, and then here you basically have to fill in the form, make the payment, and then we can go to the next stage. Like I said, the good thing here is that they are currently having a sale where you do not have to pay for the setup fee. So after you make the payment, after some minutes, you're going to receive a mail like this from Contabo, where it would contain the credentials that you're going to need to log in into your VPS server. So mine is in German, but the layout is technically going to be the same irrespective of which country that you are. Now what they are going to provide you is the IP address of your server, the type of server that you ordered. So in your case, it's going to be VPS 1 SSD, then the location within which your VPS server is currently located, VNC, IP port, and stuff like that we're not going to need, and the username also of your VPS server. Now the only two things that we're going to need from this email to connect to the VPS server is the IP address of your server and then your username. So the IP address is going to be different. Of course, the username with Contabo is most of the time root, but you can also find this in your email, and then the password is going to be the password that you used when you were setting up the VPS server. So there are several applications that you can use to connect to the VPS server. You can use Windows PowerShell, you can use Terminal if you're using Mac operating system. You can also use an application like Putty. So I personally like to work with Putty because it's a bit easier to use. So if you want to use Putty, just come to their page, putty.org. I'm also going to provide a link in the description section. Just click on download Putty, and then here they have several versions that are available. So whether you have a 64-bit processor or a 32-bit processor, just choose the one that is right for your device and then just download the application. It's a free application that you can download. You don't need to pay anything to download the application. Now after you have downloaded the application, open the Putty application, and then here just put in the IP address of your VPS server in this section that is called the host name. So I've put in the IP address, and then all you have to do is to click open. So Putty is going to warn you if you want to accept the connection. If you're pretty sure you're using the right IP address credentials, just click on accept. And then here, what you're going to have to type is the username of your VPS credentials. So the username is always going to be root. So just type in root, press enter. And then here you're going to type the password. If the password is a very complex password, so in Putty, with most VPS application, if you are typing the password, you wouldn't see what you're typing. So my idea or my suggestion is always, if you have a very, very complex password, just copy the password somewhere in a clipboard, copy it, come into Putty, right click, and then the password will be pasted. So I have copied the password in the clipboard. When you come into Putty, just right click into the console. It basically pastes anything that you have in the clipboard. You do not see this, but this has been pasted. And then just press OK. And then you see that I'm connected to the Contabo server. I'm going to teach you a second way that you can also connect to the server. Here we're going to use an application that is called PowerShell. So just click on the start button, search for the application that is called Windows PowerShell. I'm going to move this here for you to see how it is. To connect to the console or to connect to your VPS server, just type the command SSH space root @ so root is basically the username of your VPS server, right? And then press also in PowerShell, when you right click, it basically pastes whatever you have in the clipboard. So I just copied the IP address and I just pasted this in there. Then press enter, and then it's going to ask you if you are sure you want to add this credentials or this fingerprint. So just type yes and then press enter, and then here you're going to paste in the password of your VPS server. So I've copied my password. When you right click also in PowerShell, it also pastes whatever you have in the clipboard, and then just press enter. So you can see that whether you use PowerShell or you use Putty, you can connect to the server. So for this tutorial, I'm going to continue with Putty because I personally like to work with the application, but you can use any application that you like to use. So now we're going to basically start with the installation of the node. Like I said, I've provided all the commands that you're going to need, so it's going to be very easy for you to set this up. Now the first thing I'm going to always recommend that you do is to basically to update your Ubuntu operating system. So here, just come to the Medium link, scroll down. We're going to start with the second section. The idea here is that you have already created an account, optionally using my referral link. Now copy this command that we have in the step 2, come into the console, right click to paste whatever you have in the clipboard. Like I said, with Putty, whenever you right click, it basically pastes everything that you have in the clipboard, and then just press enter, so that you can see that the progress bar is basically moving. If it gets to 100%, it's going to bring us back to the command prompt, and then we know that the update is complete. So you can see that this is currently complete. It's brought us back to our roots directory. Now what are we going to need? We're going to need 2 applications to run the node. So the first application that we're going to need is called Screen, and the second application that we're going to need is called Network3. Now I tried to combine this application into one command for you. Just come here, copy this command, come into the console, paste this in here, and then just press enter. So now both Screen and Network3 are installed. What we're going to do now is to download the Network3 application. Now we're going to do this using the wget command. This command that I have here is currently to download the version 2.1.0, which is the latest version that they have as at the time that I'm doing this recording. Now it could be that by the time you are doing this, there would be a newer version that would be available. So my recommendation would be, before using this command here, just come to, I'm going to show you how you can basically generate the link. Just come to network3.io/download. You see that we have this section here, which is called Linux v2.1.0. Just right click on the button and choose copy link address. Now come into the console and type wget space, and then right click to basically paste in the URL for the download. So whatever newer version that they're going to come with, that is the easiest way to be able to get the latest URL or version of the application. Now when you put this in here, you see that it's basically the same command that I'm using here, right? But it could be that by the time you are doing yours, there would be a newer version of the application. That's why I'm just teaching you how you can get the most recent version. And then here, just press enter. Now what this command does is that it downloads the software for you. Now what we're going to do now is that the software is a zipped file, which is called .tar. So what we're going to have to do is to unzip the application that we downloaded. So here, just copy this command as well, come into the console, paste this, and then just press enter. Like I said, my version that I'm downloading or that I'm using is version 2.1.0. So should it be that in your version you have a different version than 2.1.0, then this command is not going to work, right? Because For instance, if it's version 2.2, then you have to adapt this in the command that you're going to use. Now it's very, very easy to see what the version that you downloaded is. One, when you come onto their page, it should be written here 2.2.0, whatever it's going to be. So just make sure that you adapt it in the command. You can also see this very easily in the file itself that you downloaded. So you can see here on the console that the file that I downloaded is called Ubuntu Node v2.1.0. So that's basically what we want to extract. So what this command is telling this console or Ubuntu is to unzip a file that is called Ubuntu Node v2.1.0.tar, and that's basically exactly what we downloaded. And then here just press enter. So the file has been unzipped. Now what we're going to do is we're going to create a screen. So a screen is basically a window. You can think about this where you can run an application. So with the aid of screen, you can run, for instance, several instances of several applications all on your VPS server, which makes it a bit easier to manage. So to create a screen, we're going to copy this command here. We're going to create a screen that is called Network3. Just paste in the command and then press enter. And then you see that a new screen or a new space is created for you. This means that you have entered a new window within which you want to run your application. Now the Net3 application is stored in a folder called Ubuntu Node. So what we're going to do is to change into that directory. So what this command means is that change into a directory that is called Ubuntu Node. Come into the console, paste this in there, and then just press enter. So now we are inside the directory that contains the application. So what we're going to do is to run the manager.sh command to start the application. Just copy this command here, come into the console, right click to paste the command, and then press enter. And then the application is going to be installed. By the way, the Network3 team also provided a guide on how you can install the node. It's also worth reading if you want to have a look at it, to basically read how you can set up this node. So for instance, they provided a further command on how you can stop the node and stuff like that. For instance, if you want to shut down the node, instead of using sudo bash manager.sh app, you're going to use sudo bash manager.sh down. Now what we're not doing this here because basically we want to set up the node, right? So that's why we use the app command. Now the node is basically running, so you can see that I got a confirmation that node is ready. This is what you want to see. If you do not see this, then it means that something basically went wrong with the script that you run. Now we're going to need to claim this node on our account. So we want to add this node to our account to show that the node is ours. To do so, you're going to need to find out. So every node has a unique key. So we're going to need to find out what the key of our node is. So just copy this command here, come into the console, paste in the command, and then press enter. And then you can see that a key is generated for us. So in my case, this is what starts with KD and ends with equal to. So this is the command, this is the key that we're going to need to add the node to our account. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy the key. So in PuTTY, whenever you highlight something in PuTTY, it basically, and you leave the mouse, it puts it in the clipboard. So this has been copied. I'm going to come to Notepad. I'm going to type key. I'm going to paste in this key. We're going to need this key in the subsequent stage. Now, what is also very, very important here is that in order to be able to add the node to our account, just come here and copy this URL, the one that starts with HTTPS and ends with 80. So just copy this, come to Notepad. I'm also going to paste this here. So I also provided this URL for you in my guide. This is basically the link that you see here. So you can just copy this, come into Notepad and paste in this command here. But like I said, this is also automatically generated for you by the Node application. Now here, what we're going to do here is to replace this XXXX section with the IP address of your VPS servers. So in my case, the IP address of my VPS server is 38.242.143.2235. Now this is what we're going to use to add the node to our account. So now we have copied the URL. So what we're going to do now is to come to the network3.io. The first thing that you have to do is to log in into your account. Now to log in, just click on sign up here and then click on login here because we already have an account. So just put in your email address and then click on login. Now when you log in, this is how it's going to look. What we're going to do now is to paste in the URL that we copied. So first you have to log in into your account before you paste in this URL. Otherwise it's not going to work. Now click on the address bar, paste in the URL, and then press enter. So it doesn't work in my case. It always brings me to this site, cannot provide a secure connection. I have this problem when I'm using Chrome. So my suggestion would be that if you're having a similar problem by the time you're doing this, just use Microsoft Edge and this works for me as well. If the Network3 team is watching, or if anyone has a solution to this, please put this in the comment section, and I'll be very, very happy to learn this as well. So like I said, I switched now to Edge because with the Edge, it works flawlessly. Now what we're gonna do now is to paste in the same URL that we copied from our notepad. So just come here, paste in the URL. So the URL, we have replaced this XXXX with the IP address of our VPS server. Now just press enter, and then you see that we have, so this is the current node that we connected. So you see that we have current node connected, and you would see this plus button here. What we have to do is to just click on this plus button that we have here, and then it's going to ask us to provide a private key of our node. So here I'm just going to come back to my notepad. I'm going to copy the key that we copied from our console. If you do not know which key I'm talking about, this is the key that we copied, right? The one that we have down here. So I've copied the key, and I'm going to just paste in the key in this section here, and then press OK. So typically it tells you that a node has been added, but I have this error here, and I'm going to show you how we can fix this as well. So just click on OK. It could be that the server is currently overloaded or something like that. Just come back into the console. What we're going to do now is to stop the node and start the node again. So now to stop the node, just use the command, same command that we use with app, but instead of app, just type down, then press enter. And then now the node is closed. And what we're going to do now is to start the node again. So just come here, press up, and then basically when you press up, it recalls the last command that you used. Then just clean it down, and then press up, type up, and then press enter. Okay, now the node is ready. Now let's try to access the dashboard again. So now I'm going to try this again. I'm going to copy the URL that I pasted in my notepad. I'm going to come to Edge. Like I said, very important, make sure that you have already logged in into your Network3 account. I'm going to paste in the URL here, and I'm going to press enter. And then I'm going to click on the plus button, and I'm going to paste in the key. I'm going to press OK. And then you see a notification that this was added successfully. I would find a node added to my networks in a few seconds. So if you do have a problem adding the node to your account, just do this the same way I did. Use the command sudo bash manager.sh down to stop the node, and then basically just restart the node using the sudo bash manager.sh app. I'm also going to append this in a Medium post just so that if someone is having this issue, they could also resolve this. So now what we're going to do, which is also very, very important, is to come back into our console. So currently our application is running in the screen, like I said, but before you leave or before you close the console, my recommendation is always to minimize the screen. Now, how do you minimize the screen? Just press Ctrl A on the keyboard and then press D. And what this means, like you see here, it writes that you have been detached from the screen. So the reason why I recommend that you do this is that it could be that sometimes, it happens to me several times, that you might be typing some keystroke and you basically kill the application that is running on the console. So before you leave the screen, or before you leave or close the PuTTY application or whatever application that you're using, please make sure that you minimize the screen. Now, if you want to get back into the screen, just type screen space -r space and then type the name of the screen that we created. So in our case, we call the screen Network3. So when you type screen -r space Network3, it would basically bring you back into the application. So before you leave the PuTTY, like I said, just press Ctrl A, leave the keyboard, and then press the D, right? And this would basically minimize the screen. If you do not remember, for instance, maybe when you close the PuTTY application, you come in again and you didn't even remember what the name of the screen was, you can also just type this command screen space -ls, and then this would basically list all the screens that are currently run on your server. So you see that this is my screen with an ID 696 called Network3. So when I type screen space -r space and the name of the screen, and this is the name of the screen, right? Network3, it basically brings me back into the application. So I'm going to minimize the screen. So that's basically how it is on how to set up the Network3 node. After some time, you will start to see that you are earning network rewards. If you do have any difficulty in setting up the node, so I have also started my own Discord channel where I basically help the community out there with all deep-in projects on how to set up their device and their node. You can also come there, put in your questions, and I'll be extremely happy to help you out. What we also do is I also present new projects that are out there before I even make up a tutorial on this. So if you want to get first information on some of these projects, just join the community and let's grow together. If you liked the video, if the video was helpful in setting this up for you, please hit the thumbs up button for me to know that you were able to set this up. Also tell me in the comment section that you were successful in setting up the node. You can also subscribe to my YouTube channel to see more like this. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one. Bye.